Greetings and salutations. This is Emperor Vespasian.
And he's just a psychic. Oh. And he has finally got his job back.
Yeah.
And we're getting back into it.
I did mention the other day that I was going to be making some new gliders. Someone asked me on one of our bolt action videos about the Japanese gliders that we've got.
It's a long time ago then, wasn't it?
No, he asked me the other day.
Well, yeah, I mean, not a question when we were playing with them.
Yeah, it's been a while since we played with them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, anyway, I did mention that I was going to be making some new gliders. These ones are Russian, so I thought I'd do a little video about them before I actually paint them up. Didn't really have time to make a making of video, what with everything else, but I will quickly show you around these particular chaps. This glider is designed to be in two parts. You can see it's not finished yet. It's got, that's the door on the side, and that is part of the wing, so it makes it slightly easier when you're deploying your gliders on the battlefield. It might be, if you find yourself with a building or a tree in the way, then you can always take part of the, you can always sort of put it like that so you can see that the glider can still fit in the scenery you've got, but doesn't look silly, if you get what I mean. Well, we've had situations where gliders have landed next to buildings, haven't we?
Or when we tried it, it took down all the telegraph poles.
Yeah, we had that happen too.
Okay.
This glider is the same version as this, and it's basically come down, but the tailplane's torn off. So the tailplane dropped off, just reach over, and you can see the braces inside it. It will look a lot better when it's painted up. So this is just the broken end of the plane, and you can see the bracing in the back and the doors are open. So that's just that. They're still slightly wet, that one is, but well, I just thought I'd do a little video on them just to show you what they look like. These gliders were made out of card. I basically cut card into the right shapes and then covered them in milliput, which is just how I did it. As with all my Russian stuff, I'm trying to make them as generic as possible for basing. So these Russians are on, I've just done a sort of dirt base with a bit of burnt grass on top. The gliders themselves, I'm just going to do them landed in mud. I am going to do a video all about these when I've finished painting them.
It's like a part 2 video.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do a series of videos for bolt action on different bolt action armies. As we build the army, I'm going to go through unit by unit and give you some ideas on what you can use as tactics, whether or not you want to buy the unit yourself.
Strategy. Yeah,
well, sort of like strategy videos for each type of unit. These guys here are VDV paratroopers for the Soviet army. We're doing early war, so they're in the early war jacket. Early war green overalls, which is what the early Soviet paratroopers wore. Later on, they went to wearing a slightly darker uniform with sort of splotches of brown or black on, which you will see. Warlord does some Pathfinder troops, I believe, and some snipers who wear the camo smock. You can use those for glider troops. For paratroops. These guys are these are gliders, and Soviet gliders tended to drop infantry, regular infantry, not paratroopers. These guys are paratroopers. So you drop your paratroopers on the ground, and you land your gliders and you land infantry with the gliders. That's how they worked. The Germans tended to use paratroopers, specially trained glider troops, who were just part of the regular paratroopers. The Soviets, well, at the beginning of the war, they were using separate paratroop and glider units, and the glider troops would be regular infantry. I think it was I'm trying to remember now, 82nd? Was the 85th Motor Rifle, 85th Rifle Regiment, I think, were glider bomb troops. Yeah. Of course, most of this is a moot point because by 1941, the Germans invaded Russia, and all the planes, the transport planes, were all destroyed on the ground. All of Russia's paratroopers and glider-borne troops ended up fighting on foot anyway. They never really got to use them in combat against the Germans. Not in the opening stages of the war. They did later on though. Crossing the Dnieper, they used quite a few glider troops and paratroopers. So yeah, the planes you can see here are Antonov A7s. The Chinese also had the Soviets also had the G63, which was a 12-seater glider. These ones only carry 7 troopers, so basically 2 gliders would carry 1 full squad with a support unit. The pilot of the glider would be a regular soldier, just trained to fly a glider. So yeah, that's it. That's more or less all I've got to say on that particular subject, but I will go into a lot more detail with these things later. They were used in Finland against the Finns, obviously. They were used against the Chinese, and they were used against the Japanese at the end of the war. So yeah, that's about it. So I will be painting them up and doing a video, and they're all painted and everything, and they'll be part of our Soviet Army project, which will be quite fun to do. Questions?
Alright then, so people who are new to this channel, because we're doing this for a while,
Yeah.
This is part of the video where I ask the person who made these, Vespasian, questions that you are probably thinking.
All stuff that's on your own head that I haven't explained to you yet.
Yeah, but they're probably thinking as well, because, I'm very smart, not. Right, why, today we have dropships, which drop troops off and bring them back, right?
Well, we don't actually have dropships in the real world.
Yes.
That's on
no.
games.
Troop carriers then?
We have helicopters.
No, we have troop carriers.
No, we don't.
We do.
Actually, we don't.
I saw them on videos of Afghanistan.
Oh, that's the Osprey, is it? The
right.
twin propellered. That's effectively a dropship.
You see them flying past Norfolk.
Yeah, we do see them flying around occasionally.
How come these people resorted to gliders instead of a design like that?
Because nobody invented the helicopter.
Yeah, but it would have been simple if you didn't think of putting 2 wings on something and making it fly to the floor, and hopefully you don't die of crash landing.
Well, the Soviets were the first guys to come up. Sorry, the Russians, the Soviets, were the first guys to come up with gliders. The concept was you would land. It's basically you have paratroopers, and your paratroopers are men who have to train quite a lot to learn how to jump out of a perfectly good aeroplane while being shot at and land in a field without breaking your leg and then fight. Sometimes you don't have time to train that many.
You mean make sure you don't break your legs, take the parachute off,
yeah,
find your gun,
yeah,
get off the floor, because obviously apparently you didn't carry your guns. Apparently got dropped off in like a package.
Well, okay, let's run by that one very quickly for you. The first paradrops that the Russians carried out, they realised they were going to need weapons. They didn't actually jump with a gun. So they opted for carrying a pistol, and they would have the rifle in a box that would land with them.
Meaning, as soon as they land, they are defenceless with just a pistol.
Yeah.
And probably 1 magazine in the pistol, nothing else. And you have to get there before you get killed by people with machine guns and rifles. Yeah,
that's basically what you have to do.
I mean, that's if you don't survive landing.
Yeah, but bear in mind, well, each army did things differently. The Americans dropped with their rifle and stuff attached to their feet. So the rifle would land first, wrapped in a plastic bag so it didn't get wet, and so the rifle would be at hand as soon as they landed. They tried jumping with the machine gun, the American version of the PPSH, the Thompson. But you ever carried a Thompson? You have carried a Thompson,
the Thompson's very heavy.
Yeah, very
incredibly heavy.
And people would break their ribs.
What country was it now actually bought them? Or Germany, was it?
Germany, yeah. Germany
and they bought some Thompsons and they went, my God, they're so heavy.
Yeah, Germany bought a huge amount of Thompsons before the war. German police troops used them, and other troops, which I don't really want to go into, because, hey, we're talking about wargaming, not politics. But they were very popular among certain units associated with the German army, shall we say. And especially police units and stuff like that. Because Germany had the MP40, and the MP40 was a lot lighter, but it tended to jam, because the ammunition barrel, the ammunition thing, the men would hold the ammunition, the magazine, and they would jam the weapon because it wasn't designed to be held.
It's designed to be free held like it does itself.
Yeah, it's a machine pistol, basically, an MP40. It's not meant to be used as a machine gun, it's a machine pistol. It's a different way of doing it. So the Thompson was a very good gun. The Americans made brilliant use of it, and so it was very useful to have for paratroopers to land with. However, if you tried to land with a Thompson attached to your chest, you tended to break your ribs. So they decided not to do that, and so they had to put them in cases.
I tend to find they don't make World War II games, World War I games anymore.
No.
Apart from new games coming out, Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
Where in the campaign you used to have them strapped to your chest, the guns.
Yeah. If you jump with an extremely heavy rifle attached to your chest,
it was normally
you're going to injure yourself.
It was normally a carbine used to have.
Yeah. All paratroopers use carbines.
Yeah.
Because they're lightweight. Well, we've got a carbine. We've got a Kar 98, and you can tell the difference between the weights. Japanese paratroopers. The first guys to come with paratroopers were the Russians. Japanese were the second, and then the Germans started to copy the design as well. And then everyone else joined in because they were, a bit late. And the Japanese would always carry pistols when they jumped. And the rifle was attached beneath their... I think there was a rope on their leg that carried their rifle, or I'll have to look that up again. I think I've done a video on this before. Because we've got Japanese paratroopers, and but generally they carried a pistol. German paratroopers carried a pistol, and then they would get the weapons out of a tin, so to speak, out of a drop pod. Also in answer to your question, one of the ways you avoid the trouble of paratroopers landing on people and machine gunning them is you drop gliders. The beauty of a glider is it's completely quiet.
No, you're going to see it. Let's be honest here, you're going to see it.
Most land at night.
Oh, well, yeah, you might not see them.
So even if you see it, you are only seeing it land. You don't see it coming in because it's quite low.
So you don't know what it is?
No, it just comes in really low, and so there's just a crunch as it lands, and then the troops on board the glider immediately burst out of the glider, fully kitted up, head to toe with all their weapons and everything, and they're ready to fight instantly.
Hence these guys stood here.
Yeah, hence these guys stood here. And so they get out and they can cover their parachute landing. Unless it's Operation Market Garden and you completely slaughter the horse and land completely wrong, land your paras in the wrong place to the gliders and land them in the wrong order and land on the wrong side. Oh God, it was a disaster. Much what happened to the Russians actually in 1943 when they tried to cross the Dnieper. It was an absolute disaster.
Next question?
Yeah, next question.
This last question I can actually think of.
Okay.
What were the, not just Russians, or any other country actually used these gliders? What were they trying to do? Were they trying to land in front of the enemy lines, within the enemy lines, or behind the enemy lines? Where were they trying to land?
Okay. Glider bomb. Okay. This is a whole video.
Let's say this is like a trench.
Yeah.
Right. What are they intending to land behind, within, or in front?
They're not aiming for the trench at all. Take German military tactics. German military tactics were you land gliders on enemy strong points. So enemy bridges, enemy bunkers, artillery positions. the glider troops get out and kill or take prisoner the guys. The fortress in Ebenhemler in Holland. German troops landed on the roof of the fort and put thermite on the gun barrels of the fort. So the gun barrels couldn't be fired, and the troops just surrendered because there was no point trying to fight because they had no guns. The Germans took them all prisoner. So that took the fort out. A fort that was supposed to hold the Germans up for 2 weeks in combat was taken in about 20 minutes by some glider-borne troops. You land them on bridges to stop, like the British did at Arnhem. You capture the bridge, you land glider troops on one side of the bridge, paratroops on the other side of the bridge, and then you take the bridge from both sides. And so you hold the bridge until your tanks can drive up and use the bridge.
Your main army.
Yeah. So the idea is for the British is you pepper the ground with glider troops and paratroopers, and then you seize road junctions, bridges, whatever, and then the actual army can then be cushioned, as it were, to advance with the strong points already taken by the paratroopers. Doesn't always work. The Germans...
Oh, have you ever seen that film, Private Ryan?
Yes.
Okay,
that didn't work. That's what happens when it doesn't work. That's what I was thinking.
Let's say that, you know Ryan's Squad?
Yes. It is a fictional film.
I know it's... I do know that, yeah, I can tell.
It is sort of based on reality, though. There were situations like that in the Second World War that did happen. So.
What, wasting an entire
members of the same family. Members of the same family all being killed, and so it's bad for publicity. So they did remove them from combat.
So let's say that Ryan's squad was a glider squad.
Well, Ryan was part of the 82nd Airborne.
No, I mean, if they were,
so he's a paratrooper, yeah.
And they landed on that main target they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Would that have been a success or non-success? That is the main area they were meant to keep.
The Americans did secure some of the objectives. They actually did. The British had a bit of trouble securing objectives. We nearly lost Pegasus. At Pegasus, luckily, a guy with a Piet managed to stop a German tank. And the Germans assumed the British had anti-tank guns, so they didn't try and cross again. Had they actually tried to cross again, we'd have been stuffed because the Piet guy only had one shot.
What?
So that would have been a disaster. We'd have lost that one. But we won by luck and sheer guts.
Guts. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that battle, I can't remember the name, where we fired every single bullet we had until we ran out of no more ammo.
Yeah.
And the enemy surrendered because they thought we still had some.
That was Falklands. That was the powers of the Falklands. Although they were never parachuted in. The Falklands, basically we ran out of ammunition, and so we were running low.
Already there, or did we land?
We were outside Port Stanley, and we decided, because it didn't look like the Argentinians were going to give up fighting, we fired everything and used every single shell we had, and then said to the Argentinians, we're going to do that to you again unless you surrender. And the Argentinians went, they must have lots of ammunition, they'll surrender. We'd actually run out of bullets. We had literally run out of bullets.
Our last round.
Yeah, that literally our last round. Actually, the word literally does mean literally in this case. I talked to one of the officers who was there, and he said it was basically total brown trousers time. He said they were firing the ammo, firing the shots of the howitzer. And they had this little dinky howitzer, and he said, you do know when we get to the end of this box, we're out. And he said, yes, that's what we've been told to do. Mm-hmm. And they thought, wow, we've had it, but no, the Argentinians surrendered. So, yeah.
Because they didn't want to risk everything being destroyed.
No, they just thought we had more ammo. They thought we had loads of photon torpedoes to fire at them.
We were ready for this.
Yeah, there's an episode of Star Trek not going anywhere. What's that? Deep Space Nine. Where they only have about 6 torpedoes, so they fire all of them in one go to make the Klingons think that they're secretly hiding loads more, because you're not going to waste 6 in one shot. A 6 is a warning shot. They must have loads hidden away somewhere, and that works, and the Klingons back off. Same sort of principle. But these things happen. So that's British tactics for our glider-borne troops. German tactics and paratroops. German tactics were to secure strong points and sever communications. So they were to basically prevent the Germans from communicating with other units. So you sever the communications. The German plans for Operation Sea Lion would be the paratroopers would land in Britain. And instead of going for strong points, they would simply get on the nearest train. And every train station had a post office, which was a telephone exchange. And they would just cut the lines. And they'd just go all the way down the train line, cutting the lines as you went. And there'd be no way of warning anyone it was happening. And that would have hamstrung the British. We wouldn't have been able to issue orders or anything.
How can we still warn them?
They never landed in Britain.
Because an operation.
That was their plan. That was their plan, and it was on the back of the.
That's just before the Russians started beating them.
No, that's just before they went to war with Russia. This was 1940. This was before they went to war with Russia.
What took Russia so long? This is like going on for so long.
The Russians were waiting for Britain to lose.
Seriously?
Yeah, that was their plan.
People.
No, that was their battle plan. Their overall battle plan was to wait for Britain to surrender and then invade Germany.
So, catch the Germans by surprise.
Yeah, hit the Germans and overrun Germany, overrun France, and then invade Britain because Britain would now be part of Germany and they could take Britain without fight because...
Meaning they took the whole of Europe?
Yeah, the Soviet Union was worried about the huge British Navy.
You mean the Royal Navy?
Yes, the Royal Navy.
Which was too scared to go back to England. They were hiding in the Pacific?
Scapa Flow. We
they were hiding on the coast as far away as England as possible.
Yeah, we generally sailed up to Scapa Flow and hid there, surrounded by a minefield.
And waited.
Yeah, and occasionally came out and went boo. Basically the Russian plan was for the Germans to start have all their troops pinned down in Britain fighting the British, and then they would invade Germany, overrun Germany and France in a few weeks, and that would be the end of Germany, and then Britain would have to surrender. And the Royal Navy would be knocked out of the war. It would be a way of keeping the Royal Navy out of the war, because the Russians knew that they couldn't do anything about the Royal Navy. The Russian fleet was 5 ships and a torpedo boat. They knew they couldn't take the Royal Navy on. And so that was it. But that was their way of eliminating the British Empire, basically. Getting Germany to do it.
Yeah, getting Germany to do the job.
Yeah.
And when Germany is most weakened and not expecting it.
Yeah.
And got the back turned.
Well, it's not a matter of Germany being weakened. Germany didn't actually call its reserves up until after Barbarossa. So it never actually brought in conscription until Barbarossa had already started.
Maybe.
So, no, yeah.
They weren't weakened, but they did turn their back on the Russians because they didn't expect Russia to really fight Germany.
They were allies.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, they were allies. Germany and Russia were allies. They both invaded Poland. Britain, for some reason, declared war on Germany and completely forgot to declare war on Russia, even though Russia invaded Poland as well. We were actually allied to Russia ourselves. So, yeah.
How does Russia... I mean, this is completely off topic.
Yeah.
How does Russia control their countries? It's like 3 times the size of Europe.
People just live there.
Yeah, but how does one government control the whole country?
One government doesn't control the whole country. People just live there. Local government controls all the country, like in Britain. Yorkshire isn't run by Parliament. Yorkshire's run by a member or 2 of Parliament, who are members of Parliament, MPs, and they run locally. So the central government doesn't technically run the country. In Russia, it's made up of states.
I can see that on the map.
You can see that on the map. So Russia basically has different states, each running each other.
Although, how long ago was it now? About 2 years ago when I first went to high school.
Yeah.
I thought that America was never connected to Russia.
Well, yeah, it's not something they shout about a lot.
And then I looked, because I never actually really saw a proper map, or really learnt anything about a map, until I played this game, I've had it before, World Conqueror.
Yes. Never played it, but I have.
Oh, it's really fun. And I found out that they actually connect. That was astonishing for me.
It's not exactly a land bridge, but theoretically you could bridge it. It's certainly passable terrain. I've never been to Alaska, so I couldn't tell you. I only know what I've read.
Meaning the oil area.
Alaska,
oil.
yeah. The Russians didn't know.
Just literally oil. Just the land of oil.
The Russians didn't know it was full of oil when they sold it. But Russia's got so much oil underneath it, it's silly.
Next to Kiev, yeah?
Most of the world's oil reserves are under Russia at the moment, so... Or at least Russian territory, so...
I think we should do a video on that.
What, on Russia?
No, let's do a video on geography, really.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, while we're talking to you, we're staring at the map we've got behind us.
Yeah,
you
maybe...
can't see. This is basically a map we've got at the back of the room. You may have seen it before. And we're just sort of commenting on the fact that... Oh, sorry, I banged the camera there. Is it gone blurred? No. That's Russia. That was Russia. Yeah, Russia's huge. Although most of it's empty.
And then you have Greenland,
yeah,
which is not really populated.
Yeah.
But it's huge.
But anyway, that's the end of the video.
Yeah, after 2 questions, I hope that actually answered most people's questions, but comment down.
Sorry, you were saying? Right,
so I hope that the 2 questions I asked is what you were thinking, or, well, most what I'm thinking. But
well, yeah, there's a lot. You're asking about tactics. Each country had its own tactics. In China, the Japanese had completely different tactics. The Soviet tactics were saturation attack. So they would actually... Their idea was to completely blanket an area in paratroops. Russia had 1 million paratroopers at the outbreak of the Second World War. Some sources put it at 2 million.
Well, it really depends on the terrain.
Terrain doesn't matter when you're dropping troops.
I mean, where you live. Because let's take China, for instance.
Yeah.
It has hills, mountains.
You don't land on hills and mountains.
A gigantic wall.
No, you land in flat areas, and the Chinese wall didn't really come into play in the Second World War.
No, look, it's not like China was fighting their own country. I'm talking about fighting in different countries from where they live, the different environment.
The reason the Japanese wanted to have paratroopers and use airborne troops in gliders was because they were fighting in China. And China was so big, when the Japanese would start advancing towards a bridge, the Chinese would know they were coming for a day and be able to mine the bridge and blow it up. So they realised they had to use something. And they saw what the Russians were doing, and they had seen what the Russians had done to the Chinese. Because the Russians used considerable amount of paratroopers against the Chinese, and they defeated the Chinese. Although the Chinese did quite a lot of damage to the Russians. This is all prior to World War II. So this is all wars that no one even thinks about these days. Most people don't even know that Russia and China were at war when the Second World War broke out.
I didn't know, and then you said, "Hey, did you know?"
Yeah.
And then you had like a 12-hour history lesson.
Yeah.
Me sat down on the sofa, you just yapping away, telling me everything.
So basically, that's this was supposed to be a really quick video just about these gliders, and I'm sorry it's turned into a nattering session.
There's a lot of history behind gliders.
Yeah. So these are the gliders, and I'm going to do a video, as I said, when they're all painted up and looking nice. So that's it. What you said before.
So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And comment down below if you think I could have asked some questions that you didn't think of, what I didn't think of. And comment down below and we will answer them in the comments down below, or we might actually do a Q&A one day.
Well, we're going to be doing a video on these anyway, so that's for another
when they're finished, yeah, so we'll answer that really.
Right, so...
That's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Bye.